if we see it. The Azir ban did come on through. Obviously, they don't commit to like just mass banning Angel. I'm not that surprised. It's going to be the Kaisa comes on through. Because the Azir was banned, it means Kaisa's available, so Huanfeng gets his favorite pick. WeiWei goes for the Udyr. I much prefer this. ppgod goes for Thresh. They know that Huanfeng's playing Kaisa, so they can go for the Thresh. They don't need to lock in the Aphelios because there's no contest on that one, so that'll be the third pick for them. Over to Suning, though. Gragas open, didn't get banned away, can be very flexible. I'd expect them to lock in either the Gragas and a jungler, or maybe you could go with your support and your jungler here instead. But the Gragas, depends how much you want to value that one. It could be the support pick as that Gragas, and then go for your jungle. Olaf is available. I would be fairly surprised to see anything other than the Olaf, but this is SofM we're talking about, and they just absolutely clapped V5 in game number 1. So if SofM might just be feeling stylish, you might just go for something crazy, but the Olaf is what I would expect.
There it is, Olaf locked in for SofM, meaning that most likely going to be Gragas top lane for Ben. Could be for On, as you mentioned, it does have that flexibility. Could be for Angel. Hey, maybe, just maybe. Hear me out, hear me out. Huanfeng, so not playing the Kaisa. Instead, that's going over to Ben. And we got the Gragas AP that I want.
Okay, this is a good ban. The Twisted Fate ban from Angel. We're expecting, unfortunately for you, mate, I am expecting the Gragas to go down to On. I'm expecting that to be support, jungle, and AD carry locked in. A Scion ban here. I'm thinking you give a carry to Bin here since you have the Gragas on the bottom side. But we'll see. V5 could ban something like the Orianna as well. But the problem is you're getting to a point where it's like, okay, what does Mole go towards at that stage? The Gangplank gets taken away instead, which, you know, signature pick for Bin. But also, I think just basically saying we can't ban all of the mid laners because we kind of want Orianna for Mole on this next pick.
And that's what I'm expecting to be locked in. If it's not banned here by Suning, probably going to be that immediate grab by Victory 5 because it would fit pretty well into their wheelhouse of what they've already kind of drafted for themselves. Yep. Plus, it's just a good takeaway from Angel. I mentioned before, you know, Azir being a takeaway prior. You want to take some things away from Angel without having to ban it. And since Mole can play confident Orianna, lock that in.
Yeah, so we'll see an Orianna here. I think Angel will go for the Viktor. It's something he's played a lot of this split. And would certainly facilitate the composition nicely. Don't believe in the hover. That's just Huanfeng being Huanfeng. He used to be a Draven one-trick in case anyone doesn't know. He's famous for his Draven. Don't expect that to be picked up today. They'll go for the Viktor. I'm not 100% sure what they go top here. You could just go for like an Aatrox or something, I guess. Just go for a tank. It's blind, so that's the only problem is having to go for a blind pick in the top lane. Kind of sucks, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them just go for a tank here. And then a counter pick from the side of Langx.
Yeah, but Ben doesn't really like those tanks, and that's the only reason I'm
That's true.
Maybe. Yep, there it is. Gonna lock in Jayce instead, just since that is something that would be much more of a Ben-style champion. And they already have a pretty decent front line, and that Olaf, Gragas gonna be more than likely going for that tanky build to stay alive and really disrupt the back line coming in from Victory 5.
Yeah, we can have a little bit of spiciness here from Langx.
Ooh.
Oh, it's not the spiciness I expected. It's a Malphite coming through. So you can just build pure armor. And this Jayce pick, unfortunately, doesn't get to bully quite as much as he would have liked. But still in those early levels, he'll have a whale of a time. Suning very much drafting towards their strengths here. V5, I don't know about this one, man. Because here's the thing. Yes, on paper, this composition looks pretty good, right? Lots of scaling, great front to back, amazing ways to set up the Orianna ult combo with the Moonlight Vigil to follow up. Like, on paper, that looks great. I don't hate the composition when you take away the nameplates. But when we remember that this is V5, the team that has a 0% win rate when they're behind at 15 minutes, I don't know if a full scaling composition is the answer.
Hey, you know what? Just because it's 0% now doesn't mean it can't be higher than that later. All you have to do is pick up one victory for it to be better. And we'll see if Victory 5 are going to be able to do that. I would have actually loved to have seen Suning really go for the ultimate flex of switching up Jayce for Angel, Viktor for Ben, That way you completely negate Langx playing this Malphite. Say, all right, cool, Viktor used to be a pretty strong top laner. Doesn't really change what we want to do for our strategy anyways.
I will say that I think Viktor is actually quite a nuanced champion. Like, there are a lot of small mechanical things you have to know about to play Viktor at a professional level. Like, obviously, I think there's kind of a meme that Viktor's this easy wave clear mid laner, right? Because a lot of the time you are just AFK mid lane wave clearing. But in these 1v1s, there's actually quite a lot to the champion. But also, Malphite's just going to all in you and kill you if you're Viktor. Like, I think Jayce has a much better time of not getting one shot by Malphite. I actually
for the
think
laning
that lane
phase.
probably sucks for Viktor.
In the lane, it's
having
not that
played
bad.
good about it. Dude, I've played a bunch of Comet Malphite. I'm telling you, he is way stronger than people think. Like, you just throw a Q every time it's off cooldown with your Corrupting Potion, with Scorch, with Comet. Like, people don't get to lane against you. There's nothing they can do. When you trade, when your shield's up, like, they don't get to play the game.
See, I like to really flex on people when I play my Malphite by going Imperial Mandate. So that way when you land your ult, everyone just takes even more damage from your entire team, so you can really wombo combo them. And imagine with an Orianna, you just instantly kill everyone.
Respectable. I like it. I like it. You can see that Comet is there for launching. I don't expect him to go Imperial Mandate necessarily, but regardless of what build he goes, that early laning phase that we talked about is exactly there. You can see the Time Warp Tonic there. You can see the Scorch there. You can see the Comet there. He's going to have Corrupting Potions. He's just going to be throwing Qs at Bin, and Bin is going to be wishing he never picked Jayce. We'll see how the rest of the map is going to go, though, because I think, like, you have a lot of scaling on both sides, but I don't expect Suning to just play it completely slowly. With Huanfeng on this Kaisa and on the Gragas, I think around those early dragon fights is where SofM can find himself some advantages, and Huanfeng can kind of pop off on this Kaisa.
Kaisa is one of those champions that I talked about earlier. If you can get that level 2, if you're able to get that experience lead over your competition in that bot lane, it becomes a lane that you just don't get to have fun in. As Aphelios, as Thresh, if you're not trying to stand in front of the minions, denying Kaisa that experience lead that she's going to want, especially with the Gragas, you're forfeiting that lane. You're forfeiting your potential to be able to help out WeiWei on this Udyr that's going to have a difficult time against SofM on Olaf, who wants to be able to see if he can just skill check, go right into the face of Udyr, say, I'm better early on at having these skirmishes. I'm better at trying to locate and to be able to lock down a lot of these objectives and be able to control the map.
Yeah, we'll see if they're going to be able to control the map. That's going to be the question. So I've just heard from production, apparently Mole is having an in-game issue, so there'll be a minor delay on the start of this next game. I'm just trying to think through in my head, like, this composition from V5. Like, I'm trying to
Wombo combo.
get in their heads and where they're at, right? Because
Wombo
on paper,
combo.
I actually... Say that again, sorry.
I said wombo combo. Let's go.
Exactly.
They're just getting the all-in fights. That's all they need.
The thing is about it as well is there's more to it than that, because I think that's what it looks like on the surface. But actually, when you really think about it, this comp is really good against specifically Olaf, because Olaf wants to run at you. What do Orianna and Aphelios both absolutely love it? It's when the enemy just wants to run into them. When you've got a Malphite for Peel, you've got a Thresh there as well. Like, this composition is actually very good at kiting back from V5. So if V5 can put themselves in a position where they're on objectives first, I actually think in fights, their composition is going to look amazing. They're going to look exceptional in those situations. My concern is that this is not a style I've ever seen from V5 before. So how much this is just like them pivoting in the moment and trying to play a new style, and how much this is a prepared strategy coming into today is what we're going to discover on the stage. And I hope that it is a prepared strategy. We talked about how V5 are trying to find this new identity with things like the Seraphine mid. Maybe a late game identity could be a new look for the team.
Munch, I respect that you're trying to help out V5 here and what they want to be able to do. But like you mentioned, it's a strategy we're not used to seeing from them. And not just that, I feel like Suning's composition, while it might look different from last game, it essentially wants to do the exact same thing, where it's going to be able to be about controlling these objectives, constantly strangling the life out of Victory 5 so they don't have much they can do on the map, and be able to slowly whittle away. As here we are, we're loading up into the Rift for game 2 between Suning. We're up 1-0 against Victory 5. They want to be able to get that 2-0 and be able to continue to climb up in the standings. Got a bit of an early skirmish already. The flash away from Mole. Maybe SofM going to be able to get the flash out of ppgod. So 2 flashes and a heal have been burned off the side of Victory 5. And why are you recalling right there, Mole? That is a dangerous spot to try to be able to recall.
Oh god, that is not the start that V5 wanted.
SofM!
Yeah, I mean, SofM, we all know this player. He's not going to let them recall if he could stop it. Mole now has to lane with no flash, with already having used a bunch of corrupting potion stacks. That sucks for Mole. He's in a really rough spot. You can see 1 corrupting potion left, and Angel is like, look, mate, you're going to use that right this second, buddy. Walks up and makes the trade happen. Mole is going to have to recall really early in this lane. That sucks for Mole, because he now doesn't get to have the handshake lane that he would like, where they both just farm away. SofM gets a free invade onto this blue buff. He's been spotted. WeiWei moving down to the bottom side to try and get his wolves. He steps over a ward. I don't know if he can fight this one. SofM's full health.
Right, and you have the bot lane already able to rotate around. Look at both On and Huanfeng. They're already on that collapse if they needed to join for that. So now, I would have just preferred WeiWei went straight for blue buff. Vertical jungled out, baby. You just make an even trade out of all that. Now, you're probably going to get the 3 buffed.
So here's the problem, right? Here's the ultimate conundrum for WeiWei. Because he's in this awful situation where off the back of the 1v1, Mole got annihilated, right? Mole is basically not existent in the game, which means that there's massive mid prio for Angel. You've also got Jayce versus Malphite. At level 1 is way in favor of Jayce. So you have massive mid and top prio, which means for WeiWei, you could attempt to go for the blue buff if you really want, but you know SofM is going to finish that gromp and sprint straight at that quadrant of the jungle. You've then got 2 solo lanes that can collapse as well. WeiWei's just going to die in that situation. So he has to try and make the best of a bad situation. ppgod roams in as well. SofM's able to finish the gromp and get out of there. And it means that WeiWei now, he's got to try and make the best of a bad situation. Maybe he can punish SofM, who's incredibly low.
Oh, we might be able to at least get a flash. No, look at how much health SofM was able to get back. Now with an experience lead, might be able to get that rotation coming in from both On and Angel. There's no real escape for WeiWei. Might be able to go towards the top lane. Where's Bin going to be able to start rotating for this one to try to see if they can cut off his retreat to be able to get the knockback into the wall? Decides not to go for it, seeing that he doesn't have as much health that he thought he would be able to really trade that one back. But still, that's a lot of time burned by WeiWei to get absolutely nothing.
Yeah, he doesn't manage to get the contest. SofM managing to kill the gromp to get so much health back. And guess what? SofM still has prio in these lanes once Angel's able to clear this out. Bot scuttle is up. There's prio in bot side though, so I think maybe WeiWei will be able to get this bot scuttle because ppgod has roamed up. WeiWei wants to see if he can get some more, but the chicken's already down. He will get bot scuttle. He finally gets something. But this, Alex, is what we call in the industry giga-doomed for WeiWei. Look at the jungle CS. He is so far behind, and SofM has already reset, and he's moving up to his red buff.
And he didn't realize that with the help of ppgod, they could have taken red buff. They're thinking only chickens, but they didn't focus on the red buff, so he's still gonna get 3 buffed here. Oh, this is so tragic.
And I don't even know if he gets the chickens here. SofM leaving early, gets the smite down and takes the chickens. It's 30-17 in CS. It's SofM. We're getting more physical education here because he is sprinting circles around V5.
Man, this is not a lesson you want to learn. This is something that you're just struggling if you're on the side of V5. Oh, knockback, getting the flash out of Langx from Bin. Just trying to flex some muscle in the, just trying to flex a little bit in that top lane to be able to say, you know what, you're gonna have to burn flash. I know you're almost level 6, and flash Malphite ult is a pretty big thing.
Yeah, and guess who our SofM is?
Come on, SofM, let him have something. Give him a break.
this is the way that SofM operates. The second you give him a lead, the game is his. He will never let you back into the game. He's going to take the entire top side here and maybe consider a threat on towards Langx, who's still not level 6 just yet. The top laners, I would imagine, about a wave or so away from level 6. SofM gets the Krugs. WeiWei's just arrived. I don't think SofM saw WeiWei, though. I think WeiWei saw SofM, not the other way around. So maybe something can happen here as Mole moves up.
Oh, he now has spotted him with that Scryer's Bloom. Says, all right, WeiWei's there, and he's only level 4. Oh, man. Happy thoughts. Think happy thoughts. Puppies,
right, so
rainbows, sunshines. I'm trying to think of something here. I don't know.
It doesn't look great for V5, let's be honest, but let's remember as well that this is not the typical V5 composition, and hopefully this is not the typical V5. So yes, there is a ginormous jungle lead in favor of SofM. As the Dragon is started by V5. Let's rejoin this conversation in a minute, because I think we're going to fight.
You just leashed that for them. And SofM's like, thank you very much, even though there might be a 4v4 fight.
Up.
Look at Angel. The flash comes in to be able to get the shockwave onto him with that death sentence. They get first blood, but they have lost the Ocean Dragon on. Gonna be able to belly flop away from that one. SofM might have to flash over the wall. He's waiting this entire time. I'm a bit surprised that he was taking that much damage before flashing over.
So what that was that SofM was like, maybe only WeiWei tries to stop me getting over. Because if he does, I'm just going to 1v1 him. I'm 2 levels up on the enemy jungle. They're going to commit a bit more before I'm going to flash out of this one.
Yeah, you know what? It's an attempt. It's something. Yeah, and also, they got first blood. It was over to WeiWei. So this Udyr is going to be in a better spot than he was before. He's still down half the CS of SofM, but silver linings here. It's the happy thoughts for WeiWei at this moment. And see, he's just trying to get anything. SofM, what did I? We talked about this. We've talked about this.
WeiWei only has 1 quadrant. SofM has 3 quadrants this game. ppgod moving in to help his jungler, good guy ppgod. And importantly, Herald coming up. That's why ppgod has roamed to the top side of the map here. But again, priority mid means that SofM is able to just grab this Scuttle Crab for free. And I don't think that he'll just run for the Herald. I think this is SofM we're talking about. He wants the farm, so he's going to go into his own jungle now. But WeiWei really just picking up the scraps in this game.
Yeah, really is just getting pretty much whatever's left over by SofM. He's like, yeah, I didn't really want that anyways. I got a blue buff, I got a gromp I can eat. It's okay. Got plenty of food back home. It's that whole meme. It's like, can we stop for McDonald's? No, we have McDonald's at home, or whatever it is. I forget.
And you look over and it's the NA players working there, or is that where we're going with this one? That's the common
not
McDonald's
where I was
joke
going
right
with it,
now.
but I like it. I like the thought process on that one. That's right now. Mole and Angel. Looks like Angel is going to be the one ahead in that mid lane. He's got the Verdant barrier, so the green necklace essentially. That's going to make it so that Mole can't really fight him anymore. And SofM saying, wait, I have 2 levels over you. I can smite this if I want to. And they got a lot of damage on him. Flash coming in with the Chaos Storm of Angel. Might just be able to get the kill, but he instead backs off of it, realizing they got the objective. That's what Suning tend to play around. It's not even getting the kills, just being able to control the map at every moment.
Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of surprised that Angel flashed for that one. I don't think it was likely he was going to kill an Udyr in that situation. Here we go, 2v2, but ppgod misses the hook, unfortunately. Yeah, Angel kind of overextending, but I think that is just a showing of how far ahead Suning feel. Even though the scoreline in kills is 1-0 for V5, even though the gold is actually even, in terms of where these 2 teams are on the map and who's in control, like the Drake and the Herald already going the way of Suning, and realistically, the jungle it's still a double CS lead for SofM. We're 10 minutes into the game, and he still has double WeiWei CS. That's insane.
I thought Udyr was supposed to be good at farming.
Yeah, he is. But when the level 1 compounds like this and you're against specifically SofM, maybe the best at just like ruining the enemy jungler like this when he has a lead, like It's so difficult. I will say I don't expect the CS lead to continue to double like it has. It should start to stabilize now that level 6s are through for V5, but
You're hoping
this has just
so.
been such a dominant start for SofM.
I mean, I keep thinking that eventually it's going to stop, but it keeps happening over and over again. But no, now that he's got a scuttle crab for himself, okay, maybe it's now finally over.
Yeah, I would expect it to sort of be that 30 CS lead for pretty much the rest of the game now, as SofM should be able to just, at minimum, match the speed at which WeiWei can farm. But let's kind of recap what's happening on the rest of the map, because we've kind of focused mostly on the jungles because it's been such an intense jungle matchup. Across the board, we have an incredibly even laning phase going on here. Obviously, bit of a CS lead for Bin because he's playing Jayce versus Malphite. Like, you can just farm it out on that when you should be able to bully at least a little bit until Malphite gets some armor in for himself. But in both mid and bottom lane, these lanes just scaling, just handshaking. They don't get to go for the 2v2s. Obviously, On and Huanfeng not the most confident in the 2v2 anyway. And with a Gragas, you're really looking towards the team fights. But a potential dive being set up here by V5, it's answered by SofM. Bin's going to be fine.
SofM just seems to be in the right place, right time this entire game. Always being able to capitalize on Victory 5 or denying them from being able to get much. The only time was really getting that kill on Angel, and look at him again, right place, right time. He burned Langx's that ult from Malphite now on a massive cooldown.
So really, really importantly, this play from SofM is about more than getting this Herald down. Dragon has just spawned, and SofM, if he can stop Langx being in a position to teleport down, he can move over towards this Drake after this play, and there's no real response available for V5. Langx is their big engage. He is their way into these fights.
And no longer having that ability to get into the fight. So even with the TP, it doesn't matter. It's like, okay, cool. Malphite doesn't have unstoppable force now. What does he do? He throws a rolling shard at you? Oh, scary!
Like, some people are afraid of rocks. Talia not being one of them, but she's not in the game, so maybe. I mean, Huanfeng, he's kind of tiny, I guess. I don't know where I'm going with this one. He's going to drop the Herald in the mid lane.
It's not just a boulder, it's a rock.
That's true. That's true. I guess we'll just go with SpongeBob memes. That's all we've got at this point. Herald goes down in the mid lane, though, is to get Prio so that they can move over to this Drake, but actually deciding against it. So I guess it was just to get plays.
A bit surprised by that one. I feel like that's what they should have done. They don't have the most confidence. They've been spending so much time on the top half of the map. I think they expected that WeiWei, Trigger, ppgod had already been able to put down a pretty decent vision lineup that they have. You can see there's kind of that triangle right around Dragon Pit to be able to control a lot of this, so they didn't really want to mount a defense until they started it up themselves, and now it just might be the Smite fight. And with SofM having a level lead over it, he probably is going to be able to win that, and they're not even going to fight over it? Come on, V5.
I mean, they can't. Like, look at the composition. They don't want to fight yet. They need items. The weird thing to me is that they're entertaining the idea that they could get the Dragon in this game. Like, there is no universe in my mind where they just get that and Suning just respect it.
Twice. Munch. Twice.
Yeah. But I think that this is a symptom of what we talked about before, right? V5 are not a team that plays late game compositions. I think this is the first time ever that I've seen V5 run a scaling bot lane and a scaling mid lane with just a frontline tank in the top side. Like, this is not what we're used to from this team. So I think them trying to kind of set up for these Drakes is a bit of a symptom of, like, this is what we usually do. This is how we play the game as a team. So I'm glad that they do back away and don't actually fight for these Drakes, because the game would be well and truly out of control if they had been fighting. But it's definitely one of these situations where it's like, look, you don't need to be doing this. Now swapping up Trigger to the top side, ppgod moving over as well. V5, they look like they want to try and fight for this Herald that's coming up. I don't know if that's necessarily the right play, but they do have the Leandries coming through for Mole, so double chem tank, double turbo tank? Turbo tank?
Turbo chem tank.
If I could
it's
get
such
my
a
words
difficult
out.
one to say. I will say. I love what the item does. Okay, now here's a thought experiment for you. Technically, V5 is behind in gold here. Technically, by 300. Now, does that count towards the statistic here on if they win? Would they be able to have technically not a 0% lose streak when behind at 15?
Yeah. Well, they just have to be 1 goal behind for it to count towards the statistics. So if they win this game now, they will officially break that 0% win rate when behind at 15. So yeah, you're absolutely right. This could be the game for V5 as they set up for their Herald. Both top lanes on the bottom side of the map right now. With TP available, the Unstoppable Force is back available. So in theory, V5 can fight for this. With an Aphelios with no items though, I don't really know if that's the play because Huanfeng can definitely take over a fight.
Right now, Ben playing a bit conservative in this bot lane. Afraid of where WeiWei is, not really having that, well, finally does have that knowledge on the mini-map, being able to spot him out in that pixel brush. WeiWei, hey, finally getting a bit of an invade that might be a little bit more meaningful, but with that Rift Herald spawn, I would have expected to see SofM having just immediately turned for that. Instead, they want to just kill WeiWei in the jungle.
Yeah, there was a lot of pings that went down to this side of the map, but WeiWei gets the red buff and he'll get out. Launching, able to kind of bodyguard him as he leaves the jungle. So WeiWei, a tiny bit of revenge there over SofM. And if you look at the jungle matchup, that difference has actually shrunk significantly. Obviously, WeiWei got the 1 kill, so in terms of gold, it wasn't as big as it looked. But now, managing to close the CS gap a little bit. He's still 20 CS down, just about, but
yeah,
ultimately, that's better than 40.
Yeah. I'll take it.
So, it could be worse for V5. It could be worse, guys. You know, silver linings here.
Silver linings, happy thoughts. That's all we can ask for. But right now, it does seem SofM might start up that Rift Herald, might be able to pull that away. But you got to be careful because it is spotted out by that shrine right there. And the fact that you already have V5 in a position to be able to counter that. And you don't even have on in that vicinity to try to see if they can mount a defense. Instead, it's going to be Ben looking to fight against Langx, chasing him into the river. And unfortunately, the tides have turned. It was SofM releasing the Rift Herald for V5.
So I think Angel realizing without an item here, he doesn't really offer a lot to the fight. So I actually think we are starting to get to the point in the game where now that Trigger has a Kraken Slayer as well, V5 actually do exist as a team on the map now. Suning can't just kind of disrespect them as they have so far this game because they don't have the same ridiculous compositional advantage. So the Drake will be the next port of call for Suning with a 25-second timer on that spawning. You can see though Huanfeng is on the top side of the map right now. So realistically, Suning are kind of behind tempo on these plays because V5 managed to get the Herald. They managed to get the top tier 1. They can now swap down to the bottom side of the map where the Drake is spawning and then move towards the bot tower or the mid tower. Here we go, ppgod.
Had to flash away, and here comes WeiWei with the TP as well. They got to be careful of Langx. That's why they all flash away, not wanting to keep the fight going. The flash coming in from on to be able to stay safe. Looks like V5 will be able to control this Dragon Pit, control this bottom quadrant of the map with the help of that Rift Herald charging in mid.
So huge swing now in favor of V5. Huanfeng still on the top half of the map. SofM is up there with him. They're committing to try and trade tier 2s. The Herald will get the tier 2 in the mid lane as Huanfeng, he's got a lot of work to do to finish the tower in the top side. V5 will also get a Drake off the back of this one. They could also look towards the bot tier 1 potentially. I don't know if they quite have the damage to take that one down as well. But this is a really, really good swing for V5.
And you can already see that with Trigger rotating towards that, they're going to be able to get a lot of damage on it at least. So their first dragon of the game this time, not leashing it for SofM, since he was on the top half of the map, means that honestly V5, now that they've gotten towards this mid game, they're starting to scale up, get those items that you're requiring, saying that's when they need to actually start looking for things. Well, now that they have them, they're feeling a little bit more confident on the map.
Yeah, the nice thing for Suning though is Huanfeng was able to get a lot of solo gold there. He was getting some waves to himself, but also getting 2 towers with the solo local gold, if I can speak. He's also now just finished the last Whisper, so coming into these fights, we'll be able to do some damage to Langx, we'll be able to do some damage to WeiWei. He's going to be going towards the Lord Dominic's as his second item. Now that is a little bit more of a better item, it got buffed on 11.3, so you can go for that as a second item as AD carries now, and still go for the Infinity Edge third, and still get the bonus crit damage from having 60% crit. So I like this build out of Huanfeng, considering the opponents he's up against.
Right now, tuning. Ooh, looking for the pick on to ppgod. They blow him up. So much for being a tank.
And this is what I was talking about with on the Gragas. When it comes to using that ult effectively, On has been on point multiple times this game already. He's found really good ultis. They've not been able to follow up on those ultis until just now, but that is exactly what he's able to do. And now, Suning don't get that clear 5v5 team fight that their composition wants.
Looking for the flank, wanted to be able to get into the back line. He's enough of a threat. He's scared, going to be able to get the double knockup, and Bin is a bit too squishy. Trying to be able to survive. The Eclipse is not going to be enough to be able to keep him alive, but WeiWei taking a lot of damage coming in from Huanfeng on the other side. The flash away from Langx to be able to survive the fight, but they're chased off. They're all followed up by the killer instinct, but Huanfeng dies immediately upon impact. ppgod, who died at the beginning, has been able to respawn, chase down Angel. Langx helping out with WeiWei nearby, going to be able to get that bear slap kill on the Viktor.
And this is exactly what we talked about with V5's composition. If you run into them, if you just consistently run at this team, they will kite you and take you down. I was worried for them when the ult combo of Langx and Mole was on cooldown, but it didn't matter because SofM goes in by himself, and then Huanfeng goes in by himself, and now 2v5 contest on the Baron. They're going to be able to stop this happening, I think.
They're trying to scare him away, but SofM might have gotten a little too far. A little bit too greedy in the play, but Bin is scary. Wanted to be able to get the shock blast, and look at how low V5 are. Mole especially. That's the target that Bin wants to be able to get, but unfortunately, it does seem that V5 will be able to escape with their lives, but they have already peeled off of that Baron, and because they're so low, this could be Suning's play.
Oh, this game just suddenly got so tense. So Suning managed to push V5 away from the Baron. They started up themselves with the TP coming back. V5 are not going to let this go.
WeiWei, get revenge, get into the pit. He's trying to see if he can survive it, but it's going to go over to SofM, and the fight continues with Langx and On being the first two casualties. ppgod taking a lot of damage. Finally, he dies. Over to Angel. Trigger doing his damnedest, flashing towards Angel, but it's too much damage with the laser pointer. Bin on the other side, enough to be able to scare off Mole. They don't want to be able to continue this fight. They've lost the Baron. Bin, what are you waiting for? That's my question here. You're going to be able to back out of that one, but that was a nail-biter of a fight.
So Huanfeng's ult came up just at the end of that fight. I was waiting for the W to come through because you just know Huanfeng's the kind of player that would go for the assassination. Huge turn for Suning, though. Not only do they get the Baron, they win the team fight on the back of it as well. Massive, massive swing in their favor. And now what they can do is split the map up. They don't have to play 5v5. The 5v5 is exactly what V5 wants, but with this Baron, Suning now can play in all three lanes or play in a couple of lanes and use this Baron to their advantage. Stop V5 being able to get the 5v5 win condition that they need.
Right now, this game, even though, you know, finally getting that fight, getting the Baron, getting the objective for the side of Suning, it's been close. I mean, this is going way back in the replays because there's a lot that happened.
Yep, so this one, really great pick from V5. And this is the moment where I'm like, oh, okay, we don't get the rest of the replay. We got a fight on our hands. Dragon is up in 20 seconds.
He's got a lot of movement speed, and he wants Angel. They're going to be able to get the bear slap onto Angel with that unstoppable force. But look how low they are. Shock Flash eviscerates them, jumped into them. Langx, you might be tanky, but it's not enough. They burn too much for Angel.
Everyone goes down on V5, and it's a heartbreaker for V5 fans everywhere because it felt like maybe it was finally starting to come together. But the problem is, with this kind of composition, it's kind of you've got a massive shotgun blast, but you realize you've only got one shell in the chamber. When the ultis are down, you run out of ability to team fight, and the rest of Suning collapse and eradicate V5. Now they can blast open this mid lane, grab themselves an inhib, and you can see Dragon done by SofM, but Huanfeng's already up in the top lane. They're looking towards more objectives.
They've got the inhibitor turret mid lane. They've got Huanfeng already pushing the top lane. Dragon, they're within soul point to be able to use that as an objective later on. They have 6,000 gold over V5, where it was neck and neck up until that 20-minute mark. But you can see, it's just so much burn trying to kill Angel.
Yeah, I mean, they get him, right? But his Chaos Storm still exists in the fight, so it's not like he's even properly removed. And in the meantime, Huanfeng and Bin flank and just eradicated carries. SofM's in.
Look at Trigger. Trigger can't get towards this team. He was cut off from everyone else because SofM is that scary. They will be able to trade at least the life for life. But with the fact that Suning have control of the map, all they are wanting is to be able to push those wards up.
Yeah, I think he's probably named after the bit of equipment that's on the bottom of a gun that you're going to be shooting, right? But actually, what he's really triggering is V5 fans everywhere when he gets caught out like that, because that now means that Suning have complete control of the map at this point. Dragon's not up for another 4 minutes. They don't have Baron or anything to work with now, but they can still just completely dominate the map. Angel could be caught, though.
Could be his 4th death of the game. Has that turret still.
Nope.
That tier 1 is still up and operational.
Yeah, he's chilling. Bin waiting for someone to contest this wave. Bin, this is just Bin in a nutshell, right? This guy loves to assassinate people. Trigger,
get out of there.
Could be it.
Oh, but look at this. Wait. Langx, ppgod. Are they going to get there in time? No, okay. Bin's out of there. I was hoping that he was going to go for the assassination.
Yeah, I think he was waiting. If Trigger had stepped up to the wave again, he would have gone for that, but it would have been too deep with Huanfeng trying to reset as well. You can see would have been a little bit too much from Bin to try and make that play. So Baron coming up in a couple of minutes here, and you expect Suning to try and set up some deep vision here. You can see SofM moving into the jungle. Although, let's be honest, it's SofM. He's probably not looking for deep vision. He's looking for chickens. This is just classic SofM, but Trigger's going to be able to grab them.
A couple of them.
As I say, this is now about Suning trying to choke out V5, take away their jungle, force them into their base, and take control of the rest of the map.
That just happened a little bit later into the game, you know, much more of a hotly contested mid-game. But eventually they got there, right? They're at that point that they like to play. WeiWei realizing maybe I can't face check any of these brushes. I'm a bit too afraid because even with this build, he's fairly susceptible to Angel just taking away all of his health since he's got much more armor than he does magic resist.
Yeah, it's this is starting to feel difficult for V5.
It is.
But the thing is, look at the comp that they've got, right? While it doesn't look good for V5, and they may have a 0% win rate when behind, it's still possible if they could get the wombo combo off. Bin's coming in, though. If they group up, this could be it for V5.
Gonna be able to get the laser pointer to get a little bit of damage onto V5, but V5 staying strong, grouped up. Trigger not even taking that much damage from the shock blast. They want to be able to get that team fight. They're waiting for that wombo combo potential.
They're looking for it, but whether they can find it is a different question. Suning doing a really good job of staying massively spread out during these skirmishes. They're dancing, but they're at all sides from V5. So anytime V5 commits to trying to kill one person, they have to use everything, and then Suning can collapse on the rest of the squad from all angles. So really, really good positioning there from Suning to kind of not allow V5 to use the one go button that they have, which is that huge ult from Langx.
And I will say, now that they've got double barriers, essentially, you've got yourself that Banshee's Veil, Edge of Night as well. That's 2 targets that you need to make sure you're removing that spell shield if you want to actually be able to utilize Langx. Otherwise, it's not really going to get you anything.
Yeah, it's it becomes very difficult for Langx to find his way in with the ultimate. Suning honestly playing this pretty damn well when it comes to playing around the enemy composition. They understand that the scaling factor is well and truly in now. Mole on 3 items. You can see 3rd item going to be coming through shortly for Trigger. I think maybe we'll finish the Infinity Edge when he recalls. I would hope so, because Huanfeng has got 4 items at this point, so you better hope that Trigger's close to the IE. But Drake coming up, that would be soul for Suning. So V5 rightly say, look, we need to make something happen. Let's go towards the Baron.
Well, at least they've got the inside track on it. They're trying to see if they can set a trap for Suning so they can collapse on top of them, but Trigger takes so much damage from a single shock blast. Even SofM, the target that they think they can lock down, how much are you actually locking down an Olaf?
Yeah, so this is really nice from Suning. Look where Huanfeng is on the minimap. Huanfeng can happily solo this Drake, and what you do as Suning is all you have to do is contest the Baron. You don't have to go for the Baron, you just stop V5 doing it while Huanfeng takes the Drake. Perfect macro from Suning, and now with Soul, they're in a position to potentially threaten the Drake themselves. They don't have TP for Bin, which means it's more difficult for them to pressure on the opposite side of the map, but Bin could just sit in the jungle and bully WeiWei out instead.
I love this, how clinical it is from Suning, how they're able to play this one. It took so long for WeiWei to be able to feel impactful, and now they're not even oh, he does it! WeiWei steals it! Revenge is his! He's gotten the Baron!
Beautiful stuff from WeiWei. He sacrifices his life, but he steals the Baron away and maybe buys some more time for Victory 5. And much needed time, because it's 5 minutes until that Elder Drake Mole going to be able to get the Dark Passage out of there. Suning, can they punish while the jungler is down is the question. There's a tier 2 in the bottom lane that Suning should be able to take for themselves, as Angel already shoving that wave. But I don't know if Suning can find their way into the base of V5.
Not just yet. It's going to be difficult. While they might have decent siege and wave clear on the side of Suning, same thing for V5. Utilizing both Trigger and Bull, they're constantly going to be able to be at odds. And now with the Baron buff, they're stopping that. We got to take a look at this. WeiWei's just like, all right, I have vision over this, and
Yeah, and that is a little bit unfortunate, honestly, from Suning, because they knew he was there. They knew that was happening. But the thing is, SofM was mid-Reckless Swing, and the Baron was on like 1070 HP or something. So he needed to like E-smite, right, to get it correctly. I think an auto attack went through from someone just as WeiWei got into the pit, so he was able to smite it at just under 1000 and managed to take the objective. So little bit uncoordinated from Suning there. I think they could have played the Baron better and didn't need to just rush that one, but you know, you live and learn. And now V5 looking for a pick,
trying to see if they can set up that front-to-back team fight composition, the Wombo combo. WeiWei feeling a bit more confident this one. Was able to get the stun on to SofM, but unfortunately it's still Olaf, not really the target that you're going to be able to feel confident if you're jumping on top of.
Yeah, WeiWei got the stun, but he also lost half of his health, whereas SofM is still full HP at this point. And this is where the Jayce really comes into his own, right? For V5, they would love to siege with this Baron, but their composition can't really 1-3-1. Like, Orianna and Malphite don't really have any side lane threat. And if you just stand in group and try and siege like this, with a Viktor, you're going to be able to just wave clear as Suning, and Bin can just blast out shock blast after shock blast after shock blast, and you just slowly but surely get whittled away. So it becomes very difficult for V5 to actually use this Baron to take anything. So all Suning need to do now is continue to play the way they've been playing. They don't need to fight. They don't need to force anything. They just play the waiting game, play the map correctly, pressure V5 on the top side of the map as the Elder Drake comes up. Then you can try and force that as an objective.
Imagine with how much damage they're already getting from Ben on the side pressure flanks. If they're able to get someone low enough, boom, just blow them up and knock them down the moment you see them. Shock blast after shock blast. But I will say, I like this, where we get to kind of see that the gold has been far more evened up in certain aspects. Between Angel and Mole, where there was quite disparity between the two, Mole's been able to at least farm pretty well for himself to make it so that this Orianna is going to be a threat if they can find that perfect fight with Langx getting into the backline.
And that's it. That's the big if, right? If Suning groups up and Langxing's able to get a big ultimate, that's when the game can turn on its head. And I want to clarify something here as well. It doesn't need to be a 5-man ulti from Langxing. They don't need to get the entire team. They need to get Angel or Huanfeng. Ideally both, but I don't think that's ever happening. But if they can get Huanfeng, if they can get Angel at the start of a fight, that's when this game can be turned on its head, and that's when V5 can find themselves back into things. Remember that, look, The soul that Suning got was a Cloud Soul. Elder Drake's coming up in 1 minute 30. If V5 get that, they very easily could take this game. They have a 0% win rate when they're behind 15 minutes. This game falls in that category. If they get that Elder Drake, they could finally get their first win from a deficit of the split.
Could happen, but Suning don't seem like they want to just give that up without a fight. And you mentioned catching out Angel, catching out Huanfeng. Well, I have bad news for you. We got already the Mansion's Veil I mentioned before, but you got that Guardian's Angel for Huanfeng. That's gonna make him that much more difficult to actually kill. And you're gonna have a formidable fight from Suning to be able to then collapse back to save him.
All right, the face check has to come through from WeiWei. Suning trying to hold ground here. This is gonna be the fight that decides it.
It's gonna be the fight that possibly can have it. We're 35 seconds away from that Elder Dragon, and I imagine that it's going to be a dance for some time before someone feels confident to pull the trigger. SofM, he's pulled back in, but look at how little damage he was able to take from that when they're able to disengage completely. Sure, Ragnarok has been popped. They have to be careful of that, but same thing goes for WeiWei. He took way too much damage initially from the fight.
Wait, recalls coming through from
Double
both
TP.
solo laners. Langx and Mole both have teleport available to try and rejoin this fight, but it's 5 seconds till that Elder spawns, and remember, Suning can burn through that objective.
They're already using the TP to be able to join into the fight. Langx, he wants to be able to get that unstoppable force into the back line. He's waiting for that perfect moment. ppgod taking a lot of damage from Ben on the sideline. Nobody started up the objective. WeiWei waiting to see if they can pull the trigger for Langx, pull the trigger for Mole to be able to get into that back line.
The longer this goes on, the worse it is for V5 because Bin is just hammering away at them. Same for Angel, same for Huanfeng with his Ws. They will just continue to poke out.
Starting it up, down a little bit. Not going to be able to get the shock blast on the trigger this time, but Ben just waiting for the cooldowns. And the Dragon has reset. Mole even looking for that flank to be able to get that huge shockwave.
Oh, this is so tense between the two teams, but look at
no,
ppgod's
ppgod.
health. He's 1 HP. The Scorch doesn't quite get it, but Trigger forced away as well. That's half of the team zoned now by Bin.
Then that means that ppgod is not going to be a part of this fight. He's way too low to be able to join. And the snipe comes in from Bin to find ppgod recall. And they had Langx trying to be able to get into the back line. They got a lot of damage on that line. He's able to get the flash, but it's going to be traded 1 for 1 at the moment. Both supports are dead. 50% on the Elder Dragon, but they're not going to be able to have the shockwave. It's a lot of damage on a WeiWei. He is threatened. You got to be careful. The flash comes in, but Huanfeng was able to get the kill on a Mole. Trigger taking a lot of damage from the Chaos Room. Here's the killer instinct. They were able to pop 1, pop 2, taking a triple kill, looking to see if they can make it a quadra kill out of Huanfeng, and that should be Suning taking the game.
Huanfeng gets the quadra kill, Suning get the Elder Drake, and they play it beautifully. The patience that we got to see from Suning here was exceptional. They understand what V5 needed, and they do not let it happen.
They find the fight they need to. It looked like Victory 5 might have had the dance working their way, but unfortunately, they can't win the game if they're down at 15. Munch, it happened again, and it's 2-0 from Suning.